That's one small step for man, my children! We've seen the vampires in 30 Days of Night in Alaska, we've seen them in ordinary cities, but now we see them in the one place not corrupted by capitalism! Spice! There's been a recent accident with a space shuttle that resulted in the entire crew of it killed. 2 years since then, NASA is prepared to once again resume the space program, having undergone thorough safety checks and procedures just for this occasion. The new shuttle, titled Icarus... Nothing shows you know what you're doing with your spaceships than by naming it after someone who infamously flew too high and then fell to his death. Will be piloted by 7 crew members, led by Commander James Cobb, who speaks passionately in defense of the exploration of space. The night before the flight, he and his fellow astronauts go out to a bar to celebrate. Cobb meets a woman at the bar who's very interested in him because he's an astronaut. He refuses her attentions because he's married, though she leaves the offer open. It's unclear what happens next, since we just jumped to the end of the night to them boarding the shuttle the next day. Was he attacked on the way home by her? We see her outside, but nothing to imply she followed him or did anything else with him. Still, it's clear something is wrong. Cobb's vitals are all over the place and his skin is pale. The med tech wants to scrub the flight, but Cobb refuses, saying it's just a faulty suit and a result of his drinking last night. After all, they can't risk scrubbing this important mission for NASA's sake, at least. Soon they've blasted off, and the astronauts are getting their heads bitten off. Cobb transforms once they reach orbit and start attacking the astronauts, surviving in the vacuum despite the cabin not being pressurized. The communication is cut and one of them is set on fire, sent straight to the oxygen tank to blow it up. NASA begins investigating what happened, with one agent, Henson, suggesting the vampire connection, bringing up the FBI files related to Agent Norris. While the others balk at the theory a bit, they have heard of the incidents he brings up, like in Barrow. Still, one suggestion Henson has, going up there to investigate, is approved, though not how he wanted it. Project Armstrong, a flight trainer vehicle, can be prepped in 30 days to go up. Henson tells the mission commander, Locke, about his vampire theory, who also disbelieves it. But on the other hand, he was friends with Cobb. He knows he would not just snap and murder everyone for no reason. So if vampires really are responsible, he will bring back proof of it. Or become a vampire himself, that's pretty convincing proof. The Armstrong locates the shuttle debris and retrieves not only the flight recorder, but the seemingly dead body of Commander Cobb. Worried about any diseases that might be in his body, NASA orders them to a nearby space station to perform the autopsy. Ah yes, zero gravity, the best place to be cutting someone up! While the autopsy is performed, Locke watches the flight recorder and confirms his vampirism. Too late to warn those conducting the autopsy, as Cobb rises and attacks them, turning a few into more vampires. Cobb takes control of the space station, cutting off access to the Armstrong or the station's escape pod. Communications are cut off so they can't even warn Earth. Locke orders some of the crew to try a bypass relay to access communications, but they fail, the lights going out so the bloodsuckers can get their fill. The station captain goes mad with horror over everything and makes a run for the escape pod, which Locke and the remaining humans decide to take advantage of. They let him distract the vampires while they go to try to get to a spacesuit so they can go out and access the communications tower directly. Locke manages to get outside, everyone else either dead or turned, and he climbs across the station to get to the tower, with all the vampires climbing after him. Cobb puts a claw through his head and helmet, then later contacting Earth and requesting a rescue, making up a story about a disease that killed some of them. What was the plan for attacking the people in the shuttle anyway? Was Cobb already that bloodthirsty? Unfortunately for the vampires, ground control somehow already knows what they are and will not allow them to return to Earth. The president even launching a missile that destroys the station. Unfortunately for Henson, his report about the incident is buried. The public is not yet ready to know of the existence of vampires. Unfortunately, it seems the captain of the station was able to get to the escape pod, with a vampire riding on top of it. In space, no one can hear you scream. but they can certainly see you bleed, and that will attract even earthly terrors.
Stolas? A little high up, don't you think?
Don't worry, my love, for the night is still young.